So before we begin, let's ground ourselves in wherever we are and take 2 deep breaths. We like to show an image of nature in Dane County, but today we are going to have Emily do a land acknowledgement from outside Dane County. So next slide.
Is this the slide that you would like?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
So, hi everybody. I'm Emily Park, she, her, and I am currently based in Minneapolis, Minnesota, on the ancestral lands of the Dakota people. As we gather here tonight to organize in our pursuit of intersectional climate justice, we must also recognize that we are part of a system shaped by white colonialism, genocide, and ethnic cleansing, and forced removal of the indigenous nations who've called this land home for thousands of years. This land that we call Wisconsin is the ancestral homeland of nations including, but not limited to, the Ojibwe, Ho-Chunk, Potawatomi, Dakota, and Menominee peoples, and these nations continue to call this land home to this day. We invite you to learn more about the tribal histories of your location. We call on governments, communities, and ourselves to fight the erasure of Indigenous history by honoring Indigenous voices, stories, traditions, and leadership in our lives and work. I'm going to put a couple of links in the chat if you're not sure what lands you're on to learn more.
Thank you, Emily. Okay, next slide, please, Susan. So next we'll do a preview of tonight's evening. And can we make that bigger?
Go into slideshow mode. There we go.
There we go. Thank you. So we're still in the opening welcome now. And I will pause here and extend an extra warm welcome to anyone who is here for the first time. Want to welcome you. I hope you feel welcome. I want to publicly state that we want 350 Wisconsin public meetings to be welcoming and supportive for all people, regardless of background or identity. Our code of conduct is being shared in the chat to provide more context. And please contact the monthly meeting team if you have any questions about that. Next slide. So our, yeah, I'm sorry, I'll just review, I'm sorry, I'll review the rest of tonight before we go to the next slide. So our speaker and Q&A is Al Caballes. And then after that presentation and a chance for questions, we will go to action updates. And then at the end, at about 8 o'clock, we'll have optional time for further discussion with Al and the work that is being done that she is doing. So next slide. Next, we'll have our speaker introduction will be Mark Rosenthal. And we're excited for tonight's presentation. Mark?
Thank you, Marianne. So it is truly an honor to introduce Al Caballes from Drum tonight. My first contact with Drum was when they participated in a webinar that was coordinated by the International Solidarity Working Group of 350. I was deeply impressed with the power of their community organizing, community mutual aid, and the clear message from lived experience that you cannot have climate justice without immigration justice. Al is the Deputy Director of Drum, Desis, Rising Up and Moving. Founded 25 years ago, Drum is a membership-based grassroots organization that builds the power of South Asian and Indo-Caribbean low-wage immigrant workers, youth, and families in New York City. Al supports the leadership development of displaced members from countries such as Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Nepal to fight for climate repair, reparations, and justice. She is from the Tagalog people of the Philippines, and welcome, Al. I'm really been looking forward to this moment.
Thank you, Mark. Mainit na pagbati sa inyong lahat. Warm greetings to everyone. Want to send appreciations to all of you for making it this evening, and for Mark and Marian and the whole team that is really holding this space. I have many loves from the Midwest and some organizers in Wisconsin, so I'm delighted, especially tonight, to be here with you and to offer some of the work and perspectives that my people and the communities I belong to with you. I'm just pulling up the slides, so one moment. Can everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so thank you again. Wanted to just ask you, how many of you know somebody who is a migrant, an immigrant, or who call their home outside of the U.S.? If you could use your reactions, your chat, feel free to do that. I want you to perhaps hold that person or persons in your mind and have them here with you as I'm offering this presentation. This first slide is me here on the left-hand side with my brother in Batangas in the Philippines. And these are the places and peoples that our organization has members from. As you can see, they are beautiful places that have had people from many cultures and many dynamic histories that last for centuries and then some. We come from a people who have been resourceful, connected to each other, connected to the land. And I wanted to offer this to you to get a sense of our people and places that we hold so dear.
Al,
I
think we're just on the introductory slide. Does anyone else just see that? Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Oh no. Are you all able to see the second slide?
Yes.
Now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you for letting me know. I'm not sure what's happening there, but okay, let me see if I can just adjust a little bit. We'll do it this way. Okay. I'm glad you told me, because wow, I would have hated for you to miss the places that I'm from. So yes, thank you. This is it. Just a little bit about me and also the people that I come from. Like many of you, we have long histories of peoples and places that we love and that have supported us to be who we are today. I want to share this brief history or snapshot of my people. For tens of thousands of years, my Tagalog people and native indigenous peoples of what is now called the Philippines have thrived in our islands, in our homelands. And over the many centuries, our peoples have been colonized by different forces and different nations. And in this last period of the last 100 years, the US has been one of the main colonizers of the Philippines, occupying the country and really shaping the economic, political, cultural life of my people. And this is not a coincidence, right? We live in this particular country that in the last century has really, unfortunately, built an empire that has caused lots of places and peoples in the world to have hardship. And this system of imperialism has wreaked havoc on my people and other peoples of the world. And it's a system that is not good. It's not good for us living here on this territory. It's not good for the peoples of the world. And when we look around today, it's pretty evident that it's not a sustainable system if we are to be able to live as a people, a global community. We can really tell, and I'm sure the work that you have done in 350 Wisconsin shows that there's a crisis that we are facing, and that this global system not only produces crisis in other places outside of the US, but also here in Wisconsin, in the Gulf South, in New York City. And I want to lift up one particular way that this crisis of US imperialism is really wreaking havoc. And I'm sure you also know this, and the ways that the US military, the many wars that have happened in the last 100 years in particular, and the many wars of genocide that we're experiencing now, is really causing an inhabitable home for all of us. And that's not by accident, right? That the people who are controlling wealth and the means of society to be governed are in the hands of very few. Here, I want to show you this recent graphic that I came across because it really shows that the system of war, militarization, authoritarianism, right, is not for the benefit of the vast majority of us, but clearly there are people profiting off of this kind of economic, political, cultural imperialism. And we know in the faces, like here, these are my peoples that are experiencing the impact of US imperialism in the form of climate crises, and the complete destruction of the very fabric of our people's way of being and surviving in our homelands. Many people are being displaced from our homelands because it's no longer viable to stay in the places that we have been on for a very long time with our peoples. And it's not just in the global South or in the places outside of the US, but here in the US, we can see here some of the examples of the places that have been devastated in the last 10 years alone by the climate crisis, the climate emergency that we are experiencing. One thing that has been a lot clearer for me in this particular period is that there are oppressive forces that are in motion and also liberatory forces that are in motion. I'd like to think that every single one of you here are part of the liberatory forces that have been fighting for a different world, one where we can all live and survive and be in interdependent relationships of mutual support and mutual cooperation. So how do we connect the dots and not to see the problems, right? How do we think of ourselves as part of the global resistance that is wanting and fighting for a different present and a different future? Well, part of the answer for me is really looking at our individual stories and weaving ourselves back into the fabric of our global resistance, as one of my comrades has shared with me. I'm going to pause for a moment because I'd like to share with you a story of one of our members, Ahmed. You see some of the pictures of him here in action and in the organizing work that we do. So let me pause and ask Susan to cue up this very short 4-minute story of Ahmed. Anybody else able to hear? No, you right?
We're not able to
Susan?
hear Susan.
If I may throw out a helpful thought, when you go back to share screen, there's a checkbox for sharing your audio as well. Audio.
Can you hear?
Let
me start again. Sorry. Sorry, it just will take a minute. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We'll wait.
Take your time, Susan. Maybe while we wait for you, just let me know when you're ready. But I guess I'll take this time to just share that Ahmed has been organizing in Drum for the last 5 years. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to get to know him and his story. He's part of the first cohort of climate displaced people that has been leading a lot of this work. So I'm excited for you to get to know him a little bit more.
বর্তমান থাকি গোকলেন নিউ ইয়র্কে আমার দেশ বাড়ি বাংলাদেশের নোয়াখালী জেলার আমার গ্রাম সুরহলি আমি এখানে আসছি 2008-এ বাংলাদেশের বন্যা এবং পানিতে সব ডুবে যাইতেছে এবং সবকিছু ভাসমান এবং কি ঘূর্ণিঝড় এসব কারণে আমাদের এলাকা থাকার মতো উপযোগী না এই কারণে আমি আমেরিকাতে আসছি আমি আমেরিকাতে আসছি আজকে 16 বছর বাংলাদেশের যে সমস্যা মানে বিভিন্ন রকমের জলবায়ু ক্লাইমেট সমস্যা প্রাকৃতিক সমস্যা বন্যা সমস্যা তো এই কারণে মানে ওই ধরনের ভাবে ব্যাক করার মতো পজিশন আর নাই যতটুকু জানি আমি যখন 1991-এ আমাদের দেশে একটা ঘূর্ণিঝড় হয়েছে আমাদের এলাকাতে ওই ঘূর্ণিঝড়ে 6 জন নিহত এবং শত শত লোক আহত হয়েছে অনেকের বাড়িঘর দুয়ার সব বাতাসে নিয়ে গেছে ঘূর্ণিঝড়ের কারণে আবার 1998 সালে যে বন্যাটা হয়েছে ওই বন্যাতে মানে আমাদের এলাকাতে বাড়িঘর দুয়ার সব পানি নিছে আমরা সবাই আসছিলাম বাসমান অনেকে নৌকার মধ্যে ঘুমাইছে কেউ খেলার বেড়া আছে বাংলাদেশ খেলার বেড়া আমার মনে আছে আমি নিজেও খেলার বেড়া বানাইতে পারি এবং নৌকা বানাইতে পারি ওই নৌকাতে আমি নিজেও চলাফেরা করতে পারি কিন্তু খাওয়ার পানির সমস্যা অনেকে ডায়রিয়া কলেরা বিভিন্ন রকমের রোগ ব্যারাম এগুলা হইতেছে আর কি এরপরে লাস্ট 2004 সালে একটা বন্যা হয়েছে ওই বন্যাতে আমার মনে হয় 1000-এর উপরে লোক মারা গেছে এবং আমাদের এলাকাতে 5 লক্ষ লোক পানির উপরে বাসমান ছিল সবাই বাড়িঘর দুয়ার পানির নিচে আমাদের যে মাছগুলা পুকুরের মাছগুলা চলে গেছে লক্ষ লক্ষ টাকার মাছ পালাইছি আমাদের জীবিকা নির্বাহের কোনো জায়গা নেই এরপরে এদিকে ধান ফসল সব পানির নিচে রিসেন্টলি আমাদের এলাকাতে একটা বন্যা হয়েছে ওই বন্যাতে 5,000 উপরে লোক মারা গেছে বাংলাদেশের 6টা ডিস্ট্রিক্টে 2024-এর বর্তমান যে বন্যা আমাদের এলাকাতে বর্তমানে 5 লক্ষ লোক পানির নিচে আছে তার মধ্যে আমি যতটুকু জানি যে 5,000 উপরে মানুষ মারা গেছে এরপরে প্রায় 1 লক্ষ লোকের মতো মানে অসুস্থ এদের খাওয়ার নাই চলার জায়গা নাই এরপর এরা পানির উপরে ভাসমান বাট আমরা এখান থেকে কমিউনিটি থেকে আমরা যারা আমেরিকাতে আছি আমাদের সবাই থেকে ফান্ড রাইজিং করি ওই টাকাটা আমরা দেশে পাঠাতে দিই এবং সরকার থেকে ওই রকম ভাবে বাংলাদেশের গভর্নমেন্টের বা কোন রকম তৎপরতা নাই আমরা যারা বিদেশে আছি বিদেশের যে কমিউনিটি মানে আমেরিকার কমিউনিটিরা সাধারণত হেল্প করে এবং কি এখনো 5 লক্ষ লোকের উপরে পানির উপরে বাঁচতেছে আর কি 5 লক্ষ লোক। আমাদের এখানে বর্তমানে বন্যার কারণে যারা আসছে সাধারণত তারা এখনো এইভাবে কেউ আসতে পারে না, কারণ বাংলাদেশে ভিসা দেয় না। ফার্স্ট টাইম যারা আছে তারা মানে গরিব, মানে যারা জলবায়ুর কারণ সমস্যা বা ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জের কারণে সমস্যা তারা গরিব। যারা পয়সাওয়ালা তাদেরকে সরকার এমনি ভিসা দিতেছে, কিন্তু গরিব অসহায় কৃষক দিন মজুর খেটে খাওয়া মানুষ এদের কারো ভিসা দেয় না, এদের বাড়িঘর দুয়ারও নাই, এরা অসহায়। আমি মেনশন করতে চাই মানে ক্লাইমেট চেঞ্জের কারণে যারা ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত তাদের ন্যায় বিচার এবং কি তাদেরকে মানে আমেরিকা বিভিন্ন দেশের যারা বড় লোক ধনী দেশ তারা সাধারণত মানে জলবায়ুর কারণে গরিব দেশগুলো ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত আর কি। তো তাদের যারা গরিব দেশ তাদের প্রতি যাতে একটু ন্যায় বিচার করে, এই জন্যই আমাদের ইয়েটা মূলত।
Vengo de
Thank you, Susan, for taking the time to play that short clip about Ahmed. Yeah, Ahmed is one of our climate leaders. And let me just see if I can get back to our presentation here. Yeah, I hope that you get some clear sense in Ahmed's story about how climate displacement happens, and that at every point of his story, the displacement has caused migration, and that migration process entails criminalization, entails lots and lots of money and lots of different people and companies and states benefiting from that displacement. We in our community did a survey amongst our members, and this slide here shows the different hardships that people experience of the 150 people that we surveyed. For example, 81% experienced air pollution in their home countries, 81% experienced extreme heat, flooding, drought, typhoons, etc. And that there was really very little choice other than to be able to migrate, to risk migration, so that their families could have some sort of survival of the climate disasters that they were experiencing. And I think, from the work that 350 has done, I know that it's clear to you and clear to us that many countries who are vulnerable to the climate change are often the poorest, and that they're countries that contribute very little, right, to the carbon emissions or to the use of any sort of fuel that is driving the climate crisis. And in fact, here you'll see the different countries that maybe, you have relationships with people from those lands in your communities. I know me living in Queens, I have relationships with people that belong to these different places, right? And that this is becoming more and more of a reality. And so this is the system, right, that I talked about earlier that is driving people like Ahmed to be displaced and to have to not feel like they can stay in the countries and the communities that they have long belonged to. Going to change the topic a little bit. If you have any questions, feel free to post it in the chat. But I want to say, like earlier, I talked about liberatory forces. Ahmed, you, perhaps me as well, are part of liberatory forces that are organizing to be able to understand the imperialist system that we live in, and to be able to fight for different relationships and different policies and different ways of being with each other and being in community with each other, from the perspective of understanding that each of us are human, that we deserve to be treated with complete respect and dignity, and that we have enough resources in the world to be able to organize ourselves so that every single human being is cared for and thought about. But it is this dysfunctional system that we live in globally, driven by US imperialism, that is not allowing us to do that. I wanted to share some photos from the organizing that we have done, and I can do a little bit more later in the Q&A, but this particular slide shows the climate justice, migrant justice campaign that we launched here to be able to hold banks and financial institutions, for example, like Citi, accountable to the repair and reparations that is needed. This is an action that we did with 350 here in New York City. I believe, was that only last year? Oh my gosh, I think it was only last year for Climate Justice Week, where we organized across Indigenous, migrant, Black, poor working class communities with our allies here in New York City to hold accountable these billionaires that are causing and driving these crises. So on a local level, this is the work that we do. And last year, I had the opportunity to go to Belém to represent and share the stories of our organizing and our people. And here you see some of the indigenous communities also rising up against the militarization of COP and these processes where we're supposed to figure out climate justice. There was an excellent delegation from the US that marched alongside and learned from indigenous communities in Belém. And I was fortunate enough to be part of that delegation and to be able to link together, right, the colonization, the imperialism, the militarization that is really killing all of us, to be honest, right? The current war in Iran, the genocides in Sudan, in Palestine, right? Who is benefiting from that? Not any of us, right? And that it is part of our job here in the US to be able to understand that this moment offers an opportunity for us to be able to see ourselves as part of the international movement to really change the systems and the policies and the relationships and the world that we have to one that really respects and dignifies every human being. And so we say climate justice is migrant justice. Migrant justice is climate justice. And I would also add in there, anti-war is also part of all of that. Anti-militarization is also part of all of that. Thank you for listening. We're going to pause here, but we're going to try out an exercise called a listening exchange. You've listened to me for a while now, and I'm sure you have lots of excellent thoughts there. A listening exchange is a tool and a practice that we use in our organizing. In a moment, Susan will organize us into pairs, and you'll get a chance to try this practice out. This practice has helped us build relationships, right? And to have the relationships that we need to build strong organizations and movements. So we'll exchange 2 minutes each in the listening exchange. And we ask that as part of this practice, you take turns and use a timer to split the time of 2 minutes each in your pairing. That when it's your turn to listen, that you listen with complete respect and full attention, that you withhold judgment and refrain from asking questions, that you keep confidentiality of the person sharing their story, and not to refer to anything they say unless you have explicit permission from them. And then if some feelings come up, that we would welcome them. We would welcome them to show those feelings, and that there's not anything that we need to do to fix anybody's problems or to give a solution. All of us are elegant, intelligent, brilliant human beings, and we're creating space for each other to be seen, and to also see another human being. So Susan, I'm going to ask you if you might be ready to start that out. And I'll drop in the chat a prompt that you can consider sharing during your 2 minutes. Consider during your turn thinking about what you might have heard from the presentation that I offered, what connections you might notice we might have, or my people's and the organizing that we do might have to your own story, and what opportunities might be possible to strengthen our movements together. That's a lot in 2 minutes, but you don't have to answer all of that. You could just pick one or share what comes to mind.
And
Yeah, welcome back, everybody. I think that's pretty much all of us. I heard from a few people that the listening exchanges were good. Great. Well, I think I'm passing it back to either Mark or Marian to see if there are any questions or any other things that you might want to do. I know that there's a latter part where people might stay longer to chat. Oh, we can't hear you, Marian. I think you're muted.
Thank you. Yeah, we will have a few minutes right now if anyone wants to ask a question or put a question in the chat, and then we'll have some announcements, and then we'll have an opportunity to go back into a breakout room with Al and have more of a conversation after the meeting. But
I would just ask if you could tell us a little bit more about the process of drum organizing, because what I've heard of your work in community is very powerful. Like, anything that you could share about what that looks like on the ground.
Yeah, so let's see. It's a great question. We're a membership-based organization, working class led. I think there are about 8,000 members in New York City throughout the course of the last 25 years. And that has increased, decreased over the years because of different state attacks on our communities, with detention and deportation and the Muslim registry that we organize and fought against. Our organization has young people as members, as young as 14. And elders up to 70 plus years old. And some won't tell us their age, but that's okay. And we do our organizing in the different bases. There are 6 bases right now in New York City that belong to particular neighborhoods where there's a large concentration of South Asian, Indo-Caribbean communities. And we organize around multiple issues: workers' rights, gender rights, education rights, immigration, racial justice, climate, and really trying to look at people holistically, as people, and not just like particular issues. And we try to build communities of power through leadership development, political education, and campaign work.
Thank you. Mishi, if I'm saying that correctly, asks, of all the many ways of organizing and resisting, what might you like to see from us here in Wisconsin or in other places around the country?
Gosh, what an excellent question. Mishi, are you on camera? I kind of like to see people's faces, but if you feel you are, yes,
yeah. I can.
Okay, great.
If you could put your your hand up, I can spotlight you. I can find you. Oh, there's.
Oh, there you are.
Okay,
Amazing.
there we go.
Yeah, gosh. We could probably have a long conversation about this, this particular question, but what I would say is one, appreciate the organizing that you have done, right? The ways that you all have brilliantly thought about your conditions in Wisconsin and connect it to the people and the issues and the power building that you're doing. All of that is worth celebrating and appreciating in more ways than one, right? We don't do enough appreciations of what we've figured out and the leadership and the community that we've built. The second is, I would say, and this might sound a little funny, but I've been building a lot of joy into the organizing that I do, the singing, the line dancing against militarization, the art making, the, feeding each other with good food and being in community with each other. That to me, in a time of crisis and wars and authoritarianism and US imperialism, those are all life-giving things that that the system tries to take away from us or make us think that is not important. But it's exactly those type of life-affirming, relationship-building kinds of things that will sustain us, right? And they're very human, right? These are the ways that we organize, not just for now, but far into the future for an entirely different society, right? That dignifies us and respects us. And then I would say that, the last thing I'll just say for now, the brief thing is that the things that are impacting us personally and in our communities are deeply connected to US imperialism and the struggles of people in the global South and the places that we're meant to see as enemies, as not valuable, as targets for destruction. And so the more that we can connect the local issues of fighting for housing, fighting for water, fighting for, decent wages, fighting for our labor in the home and in the streets and in the workplaces and in the schools, those are all intimately connected to the peoples that are fighting in Palestine, in Iran, right? In Venezuela, in Cuba, right? In the Congos. We are that connected. And the more that we can draw those connections and be part of the liberatory forces that is fighting against oppressive forces and policies and war and imperialism, I think the more powerful we will be in this next period. Yeah, thank you for that question, Mishi.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Al. I think we'll take a few minutes for announcements right now, and then we will come back together for a few more minutes at the end with you for some more discussion and questions. So thank you so much. Thank you. So so we will now go on to the staff and others who have some announcements. So we'll go back to the slide deck. And is the Earth Day fundraiser first, or who will be the first one with the announcements?
And I'll bring up the slides in just a moment.
Thank you, Susan.
everyone. My name is Kristen Clark. I'm our development manager here at 350 Wisconsin. And for our friends on the call who are within driving distance of Madison, whatever that distance may mean to you, we're going to have a really lovely benefit concert at Harmony Bar this Thursday evening. Get a little early start to your weekend. It's going to be a really lovely evening supporting 350 Wisconsin, that's us, as well as Voces de la Frontera, who is an immigrant justice group, and we will be splitting the funds evenly between the two organizations. And so we're looking forward to a really great night of music and community and joy, supporting some really great organizations, and we hope to see you there.
All right, so this is me. Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm our Director of Volunteer Engagement. And so I am happy to say that because it is Earth Month and, the month in which Earth Day takes place, there's tons of events that are coming up that you can both come to support us at, but also we're looking for people who are interested in tabling. And you really do not have to be an expert in tabling or in 350 Wisconsin to do this. Every time I do it, I feel like I have a great time connecting with people. It's just very heartening to see the kind of conversations you get to have at these tables. So there's some events that are coming up soon. There's one, Dia de la Tierra, that's going to be in Fitchburg, and the Art Collective is going to be doing a fun thing there that you will get to see if you are tabling, so that is exciting. And then we also have a couple of events further in the month, and that will be at Madison College, at Middleton Community Church, and UW River Falls, and more may be added. So there's lots of opportunities, and if you are interested in tabling, I have a link to our sign up. Like I said, I highly encourage everybody to do it because it's fun, it's engaging, and you get to have lots of great conversations with people about an issue that you care about. Next slide. Because that's still me. Outside of tabling, we still have lots of other volunteer opportunities. We're always looking for volunteers to get more involved. One of the things that we're really looking for right now is people who are interested in supporting our monthly meeting team and helping to put on these meetings that we have with the public every month. And, we need people who are interested in helping to find and connect with speakers, people who are interested in kind of the technical Zoom side of things. It's a great team. It's a lot of fun, and there's lots of support. So, you obviously wouldn't be all by yourself. And then we also have our relatively new data center team that's continuing to look for volunteers. Our climate connectors are a group of people who I send out our tabling opportunities to first. So if you're interested in tabling, but maybe you can't sign up for tabling, in the near future, you can be added to the list so that when opportunities come up, you are the first to hear about it. We're also looking for some board members, and as always, people to join our various volunteer and campaign teams. We also have a lot of upcoming trainings because we want people to feel empowered to be involved in all of these different things. So the main upcoming trainings to keep in mind, the first is our Climate and Democracy Power Builder series. This is a 3-part series of virtual workshops, and it aims to connect civic engagement, democracy, and climate. And it gives you a better idea of how to be an effective organizer. We've had really great feedback from when we ran this a month ago, relatively recently. We ran it and we got some wonderful feedback from that. And we're going to be running it again. Really hope that people are interested in joining along because there are so many different opportunities to use the knowledge gained in this training series. We also have our Deep Canvas training series running again. That's a 2-part series. And this is, something that while we do at 350 Wisconsin Action use this for electoral work, we also use it at 350 Wisconsin for non-electoral work. Deep canvassing is essentially connecting with people on a human level and changing hearts and minds through vulnerable storytelling and sharing, and really it's one of the only proven ways to change people's minds on a particular subject. So it is a very, very important thing to learn about. All right, next slide. So actually, Emily, these events are online. And I will put the links in the chat shortly. So next, this is a mark your calendar, because we are, still connecting with our link, but very, very exciting. We are with 350 Wisconsin, Faith in Place and a Healthy Climate Wisconsin are hosting a Wisconsin Environmental Future, a nonpartisan gubernatorial forum featuring candidates running for governor of Wisconsin. So we'll be hearing questions from voters across the state, asking questions about our state's clean energy future, green jobs, community resilience, energy justice, energy affordability, et cetera, et cetera. So there's lots of opportunities to connect with people who are running for governor. So mark your calendar for Monday, May 11th.
Hi, I can take this one. I
Yeah.
just tapped on. Hi, everybody. My name's Mark. Y'all may know me from some of the electoral work. I'm just wanted to give one last reminder for Election Day tomorrow, April 7th, from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. If you haven't heard about it, make sure to make a plan to vote if you've not already cast your ballot. It is a very important election, just as much as any other. In addition to the Wisconsin State Supreme Court race, there's also down-ballot elections at the local level that are equally important. I encourage everyone before you go in to check at myvote.wi.gov to check who's on your ballot. You can also use our endorsements as well as the endorsements from some of our trusted allies, like the Working Families Party and Citizen Action of Wisconsin, as a guide for some of these local elections. But I also encourage you all to do their own research. Every single one of those candidates is hardworking. Some of them you may actually know, and they deserve just as much attention as the folks higher up the ticket. Tomorrow, we are also going to be doing some final get out the vote opportunities. A huge thank you to everybody who's already volunteered. We still have time left. If you want to knock doors in your own neighborhood in like the morning, mid-afternoon to give people that final reminder, you can email me and I can get you the materials. We are also going to be doing high traffic canvassing at UW-Madison tomorrow from 12 to 4 p.m. A big part of this will be helping folks who this is their first time voting and they need to register. There's one or two extra steps that a college student needs to do. And so we're going to be helping people through that. That link is also here on the slide. I'd appreciate anybody who would want to help sign up. And thank you all just kind of for everyone out there. I'll have to do a proper thank you to all the volunteers, but thank you for all your help with our electoral work this spring.
Hello, it is me again. Before I talk about our Earth Day fundraiser, I just want to bring attention to, I just put in the chat our Facebook event link for the concert I was talking about a few minutes ago. And I can't believe to mention the band that is the concert, the fun of the whole event is the Doors of Perception. So we hope to see you there. Facebook event link in the chat. Speaking of April and Earth Day, we are having our Earth Day fundraiser where we're hoping to raise $15,000 to support our climate justice organizing work. We have all of our different campaigns, such as the Data Center campaign, Line 5, PSC, Energy Justice Accountability, and many, many more things that we're always working on. Just about every day of the week. And so to do all this great work, we're raising some funds to support that and doing some, you'll see some social media and emails about some specific words and values that we're especially thinking about this Earth Day. So if you're available to make a donation, we are greatly appreciative of anything you're able to give this Earth Day. Thanks.
So our upcoming monthly meetings for May 4th will be featuring Jeff Guffey, Calkins, community food systems educator at UW-Madison Extension Dane County, who will be sharing about Dane County's food plan. And we'll also be hearing some brief campaign reports from 350 Wisconsin's inaugural Wisconsin Youth Leadership Development Intern Program, which has been helping youth develop grassroots organizing skills to run their own community-based campaigns. We welcome, and then in June, we have our annual meeting and elections. We welcome newcomers to join any team that interests them. And I think the next slide is a list of possible teams and work that we do throughout the year in 350 Wisconsin. To join a team, you can contact a team member, which is on the screen here, or you can contact Nikki Darga, who you met earlier, and she can connect you with the team leader. And these are the lists of the teams that we have. More teams on both sides. Excellent. Okay. So for those of you who are new, we invite you to go to a breakout room and talk directly with Nikki. And for those who would like to talk further with Al, we can head over to room 1. Is that right, Susan? This is an optional time for networking and socializing. So if you're tired and want an early meeting, it's also okay to sign off now. But I want to wish everyone a good night, whether you're signing out or staying to chat.